It's 2 p.m. The hallway is completely empty. You're waiting for that familiar sound. But there is nothing, just a deafening silence that almost tears your heart apart. In this exact moment, most of us think, they are completely gone forever. But the opposite is true. And the explanation will completely change your perspective forever. You feel a void that no one else can ever fill. But this void isn't actually empty. When a cat leaves us, something incredible happens that almost no one ever openly talks about. Many veterinarians, who have witnessed hundreds of farewells, repeatedly report a very strange phenomenon. It is not simply an end. It is a fascinating journey onto a completely different plane. Imagine if you could see, just for a moment, what happens in that very last second. What did they really feel? Did they know how endlessly much you loved them? In a moment, you will learn something that truly took my breath away the very first time. It won't erase the deep pain, but it will give you a profound sense of peace. Let's take a step back to the moment you held their little paw. Maybe you blame yourself. You think you should have noticed or done something sooner. You feel guilty because you had to make that final, difficult decision for them. But here is something you absolutely need to know in order to forgive yourself. What researchers have measured in mammals sounds like biology, but it feels like pure loyalty. In their final moments, the brain floods once more with an incredible wave of activity. This isn't pain. It is a deep state of memory and absolute connection. Many experts strongly suspect that in this exact moment, they relive all those beautiful memories. Your scent, your gentle touches, the warm spot on your soft lap in the evening. They weren't afraid. They were simply searching for you in their thoughts. You know that feeling, right? When they looked for you in the room just to lean on you. That is exactly what happens on an energetic level when their little body slowly has to let go. Let that sink in for a moment. But wait, it goes even deeper than you can possibly imagine right now. Let's turn this completely around and look at it from a totally different perspective. Physics tells us very clearly, energy can never be completely destroyed in this universe. It only changes its form. And what is a cat other than pure, living energy? Their loud purring, their sudden jumps, that incredible joy for life, none of that simply disappears. It transforms. This energy remains, often very close to their favorite human. Maybe you've already seen a familiar little shadow dart by out of the corner of your eye. Or you suddenly felt the slight weight of an invisible paw on your blanket. Many people dismiss this as pure imagination or a trick played by their grieving mind. But what if it is exactly what it seems to be? They're pure energy. They read your emotions their whole life and always instantly sensed your sad moods. Why should this strong bond that connects you simply break because of physical death? In esotericism, it is said that cats are absolute masters of moving between dimensions. They sleep 3/4 of their lives because they constantly shift between different states of consciousness. This transition is infinitely easier for them than for us humans, who are so attached to the physical. For them, death is not a terrible black end, but merely a quiet change of rooms. You think they have left you. But actually, they have only given up their solid form. What you are hearing now might sound strange, but it is entirely true and incredibly comforting. Their soul is still closely connected to your own energy field, just like it used to be. When you think of them intensely, this energetic connection immediately reacts to your strong feelings. It is no coincidence that their old favorite toy suddenly falls out of a drawer right in front of you. It is also no coincidence when you feel them cuddling up to you in a dream. These are small, loving reminders that this incredibly deep love never truly ends. I need to pause here for a second, because this is really important. You often ask yourself, Should I have spent more time with them when they were alive? You count the hours you were at work while they waited alone at home. Please stop punishing yourself with this. They didn't measure time the way you do. For a cat, it's not the sheer duration that counts, but the absolute intensity of your moments together. When you scratched them, that was their small, absolutely perfect, whole world. They have long forgiven you if you didn't do everything perfectly on that very last day. Do you remember what I said at the very beginning about that painful silence? This silence is actually the space where their new, invisible energy now resonates. You just have to learn to listen differently, not with your ears, but with an open heart. Do you see their old favorite spot on the windowsill in a slightly different, comforting light now? You might not have been there when they took their quiet last breath at the clinic. Or you were there, but you didn't know that it was truly and finally the last time. And now you ask yourself deep down, did they even feel my presence or my love? The answer, and this is the hardest thing I will tell you today, is an unequivocal yes. But not as a deep pain. Rather as a gentle, calming search for your closeness. Do you remember how they always lay down right next to your left side? That exact deep, familiar sense of security is what they felt fully in their last conscious seconds. They took you with them in their thoughts as they crossed over quietly and peacefully. That is the reason why the pain of losing them is so incredibly hard to bear. It is the price we pay for a love that knows absolutely no human boundaries. And yet, none of us would ever want to undo that precious, wonderful time with them. Every scratch on your sofa, every hair on your clothes is a small, precious testimony. It proves that an incredible little soul enriched your life with infinite joy. That image from the beginning, the completely empty hallway, it isn't really empty at all. It is filled with all the countless, wonderful memories that you created there together. Grief is ultimately just love that suddenly has no physical place to go anymore. But this love finds a completely new way to stay with you forever. Sometimes, when the wind blows very gently, you can still feel it deep inside you. They are not gone. They have only taken a tiny, quiet step ahead and are waiting for you. I sometimes ask myself quietly, what would they have told you if they could speak? They would probably just lean against you and thank you for all those beautiful years. And they would quietly ask you not to close your warm heart in sadness forever. There are so many other velvet paws out there who desperately need exactly your special kind of love. Your cat would want you to smile again when you think back on your time together. If you know someone who is going through this incredibly heavy loss right now, send this to them. Without many words, just so this person doesn't feel so alone in their deep grief. Let's create a place in the comments where all our beloved star cats live on. Just write their name and what you are feeling deep in your heart right at this moment. We will read every single name and send you and your cat a very quiet, loving thought. They will never be completely forgotten as long as we keep them alive in our hearts. And maybe, just maybe, they can feel your endless, deep love right now in this very moment.